Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. So today we have with us Rajat Patel sir. He has been working in Zepto from past few months and he has an experience of over 9 years now in UX. So how are you Rajat sir? How is it going?
I'm doing I'm doing really good. Entering my 10th year happily.
ओके सो सर आप कितने टाइम से जेप्टो में काम कर रहे हैं अभी फिलहाल कितना टाइम हो गया आपको
Zepto mein, this is my 5th month. I joined in December and basically January 1st roughly.
लेट्स रिवाइंड द होल प्रोसेस अ बिट तो from your early design days and now you are the UX manager at Zepto, what has been that biggest UX glow up which you have witnessed through these years in this industry?
Yeah, so generally compared to 2015-16 when I started my career and to 2025, the biggest change that I've
Yeah.
seen is the increasing focus on visual design and also motion design. Because
Okay.
these days we have more tools, right? We have better tools which allow you to create more complicated designs faster and easier. In 2015 this was not at all the case, right? We were just coming out of the web design era where just having any website used to be a big thing, right? कि हाँ इनका website है, right? जा करके तुम गूगल कर लो इनका website है, वहाँ पे सब कुछ पता चल जाएगा, right? That's how we used to talk. Abhi, it's like having a website is really common. Even if you don't have a website, you can have
Yeah.
your web presence on so many other platforms. But now people are like, यार बहुत cool website बनाना है या फिर बहुत cool app बनाना है मेरे को, है ना? तो things should look beautiful. And the moment people have like the first version of the app, they're like, यार अब इसको interactive बनाना है थोड़ा सा, है ना? Because people have aspirations really high. It's very easy to, let's say, get access to internationally designed apps by top designers of the world and then get inspired from them. So now people are like aiming for
Okay.
a higher bar in terms of motion and visual.
So, sir, you have been in UX industry from past 9 years now. What is that one thing जो कि आप पहले अग्री करते थे डिज़ाइन में और आज आप टोटली डिसअग्री करते हो उस चीज़ को?
When you learn designing, what you learn is user is everything and UX is like, very important, or let's say UX is everything. And over the time when you keep on working on a product, you realize that if there is something that can be everything, it is technology. Okay, technology is everything. No matter if you're what platform or you're building for, technology is everything. And unless you have like other things, right, which is good distribution channel and a good business expertise, subject matter expertise, industry expertise, UX cannot sell your product. UX cannot help you build an organization or a business. Okay, and the way UX designers can look at it is every UX designer needs to design in between their triangle of three things, which is number one,
Okay.
whatever you're making should make sense for the user. Then number second, whatever you're designing has to solve some sort of a business goal. And then lastly, whatever you're designing has to be technically feasible, and designers should be able to, developers should be able to eventually execute it and put it in the hands of users. If your design or your ideas are not falling inside this triangle, or they are more biased towards any of these triangles, it will not be good design, and there'll be always something that will be off in your final product.
Okay, makes sense. So, sir, at Zepto, where speed and the user ease are everything. Now, how does UX play that vital role behind the scenes? Like any design moment you have witnessed so far now?
Okay, so there's a basic concept in in Zepto's UX, which is if you're promising a 10-minute delivery, then there should be people should be able to place in the order faster, right? So let's say
Okay.
decent enough simplicity is like at the baseline. Okay, so that's there, right? We
Okay.
should be aiming to help people make purchases faster. Lately, because we have been in growth stage, we have been trying to also, let's say, optimize for more business, right? We are a bigger
Okay.
organization, we have big expenses and also big aspirations. We have like very
Yeah.
strong competitors, and that means when you have competitors, your organization's business goals change, and then the UX has to play a part in helping the organization's leadership achieve those business goals. Which means right now, let's say for example, Zepto has Blinkit as a competition, Big Basket, Instamart as a competition, but now even Amazon is a competition. Amazon is also entering quick commerce.
Quick
Now
commerce.
when you have
Yeah.
players like, yeah, when you have players like Amazon, which have basically like 100 times the size of you, they have infinite amount of money. Now you have to think really differently about how will you survive, right? What if they
True.
start to just offering 1,000 rupee free cash to people till the point people forget you and completely switch to their product? Amazon can do that. Amazon has done that.
Yeah.
Amazon has killed a lot of companies just by offering similar product at 1/10 of the rate till the point people forgot about the original product and then switched to the Amazon alternative completely. Now when you have this kind of a scenario for your organization, a designer cannot say, oh, you know what, everything is good, but let's focus a lot on usability. Bro, when there'll be nothing left, what will be usable at all? Now you should be more focused about scalability. How do we acquire more customers? How do we build brand loyalty? Right? So that even
Yeah.
when Amazon and all is there, people are still focusing more, people are still ordering more from Zepto. So nowadays we are shifting because we are in a hyper growth competitive market. We as a team are also shifting the way we look at our product.
ओके। तो सर फ़िलहाल हमारा ज़ेप्टो के बारे में बात हो चुकी है हमारी। लेट्स शेड द लाइट अपॉन द बिगनर्स जो कि अभी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, जिन्होंने अपनी 4 साल की डिग्री कंप्लीट कर ली है, जिनके पास थोड़ा बहुत एक्सपीरियंस है 2-3 साल का। तो उन्हें अगर जाना है जेप्टो में, यू नो दे हैव टू वर्क देयर एज अ डिज़ाइनर, एज अ यूएक्स डिज़ाइनर, या फिर गूगल, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, मैंग फैंग जैसी कंपनीज में, बिग फोर जैसी कंपनीज में। तो व्हाट देयर हाउ डू यू थिंक देयर पोर्टफोलियो एंड केस स्टडी शुड लुक लाइक, या फिर क्या ऐसी टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स है जो आप बता सकते हैं 9 साल के
Okay.
पूरे एक्सपीरियंस को क्यूरेट करके?
Huh. I have applied for these big companies, right? I recently did an interview with Google, so I can tell you based on my first-hand experience too, right? A lot of the people haven't even gotten there,
Yeah.
and they try to give advice. I'll only share what I have, let's say, gone through and what worked for me. Okay, I applied for Google
Done.
Pay Team Senior UX Designer, and the role was going to be Design Systems Senior Design Systems Designer. Now,
Okay.
number one thing that has to be there if you are applying for these companies is a clear match between what the organization is looking for in that role and what you're bringing to the table. The biggest
yeah.
mistake that most people do is they will make one portfolio, one resume, which will be UX designer, but they'll be applying to UI designer for the same from the same resume and portfolio, right? They'll also be applying to interaction designer positions also from that role. Sometimes people will see this role called design engineer and they'll be like, oh, I also know a little bit of coding or something. Let me apply there too. And the good thing about bigger organizations is they have crystal clear clarity on what they require from you on that role. Okay, they have mature teams, which means there you'll not be a UX designer of a startup which is someday doing this, and basically doing everything. You will not be that
Graphic
person there.
designing,
You'll
motion
have a
designing
very,
at the same time.
yeah, you'll have a very specific role there, very specific team, and you will have
Yeah.
plenty of time to do your job really well. Most of these fangs do not work in Zepto kind of a speed, right? They're a mature org, they have higher stakes, so they'll work slow, but they'll try to execute things well. And you cannot execute things well if you're a jack of all trades. Okay? So number one thing is, do not apply for just for a title, because most of the times you'll not be getting in. See if there are any specific requirements of that role, and that you can do by talking to the team, talking to, let's say, the hiring manager, talking to the recruiter. They do reply, by the way. Contrary to most startup
Okay.
recruiters, these big recruiters do reply. You can also reach out to, most of the times they'll mention that this is for Google Pay team, this is for YouTube team, this is for Google Cloud team. If that is mentioned, see which country you're applying for, which region you're applying for. Go and reach out to people, see before applying, try to get as much information as possible. Luckily for me, Google Pay's India head of design, Ajay Prasad, he had posted this. They're looking for a design systems person. This is the opening link, right? And the opening was a
Okay.
senior
Okay.
role. Okay. And I knew that yes, design systems, I have been specializing in design systems in the last 3 years. So I knew that I will be a good fit for it. And Google Pay product, I was from PhonePe, so it was a competitor, which means I already knew pretty much what the work was going to be. I had high degree of
So
relevance.
you have you've worked with phone pay also prior working
You didn't know
prior
that?
working with
Yeah.
Zepto.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know
So
that.
I
Seriously.
before joining Zepto, I was in PhonePe for 1 year, 10 months, 9 months, and before that, I was in
Okay.
Airtel also for around 9 to 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's why I had a high degree of relevance. I had a high degree of understanding. And imagine, I I have never seeked referrals, by the way. I tell people, yes, go seek referrals, but personally, I don't seek referrals. I'm a very big believer that if I have good enough work, if I'm applying for the right position, it will come to me. And usually things
Yeah.
come to me.
It will come.
I
Yeah.
applied for the position at 12 in the night on Friday. Okay. And Monday morning,
This Friday.
12:30, I got a call from the recruiter. Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
not this Friday, basically that
Last
weekend
Friday.
in October. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm
Okay.
applying, if I'm applying
Oh.
for the opening on Friday night 12, I got a call Monday first thing 12 in the afternoon. Okay. And usually
Working
people
hours,
don't
man.
get calls this fast. Okay. There could be only two reasons. Number one, because I applied one of the last, so maybe the recruiter saw my application as the first in the list, right? As the most recent one. That could be one reason. But I know in Google they get like thousands of resumes for every opening. So whatever I had written in in the resume would have been filtered by ATS, right? Would have been prioritized. And because I also was coming from PhonePe, right, which is already a relevant organization, combine all of these things, I would have gotten priority. And imagine if I was recruiting, I would follow the same criteria, right? I want
Perfect.
people who
Yeah.
have subject matter expertise. I also want people who have industrial relevance, so that I don't have to spend time in teaching you months and months, and then I'm just wasting my time and organization's money. So that's why number one thing, the reason most people get rejected is because they see a role, they have a portfolio, they're like, please take it, take it, take it. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Every organization has access to thousands and lakhs of designers. They can hire anybody. Why would they hire you
For sure.
unless you clearly can show I am that person that you're looking for? And it is your responsibility to understand what are they looking for. Second thing is,
Yeah.
having well written case studies that showcase the actual impact of your work, not just the output of your work. Most people's case study are like, yeah, we had this problem, okay, this is my process and this is what I designed, and that's where they end. Okay. No matter how many case study videos people make, like creators make, people still end up making really, really bad case studies. So your case studies have to show not just you and your personality. That is part of the process, because in the end everybody is hiring a person, right? You will be their teammate, so a little bit of personality perspective is there, but most importantly your process. Okay, important pivotal moments in the project's journey, and lastly whatever was the impact of that project. You might have changed a button, but if that just button caused like $1 million in revenue, it's a very important change. Okay.
True. True. True.
Yeah.
सर ये बहुत कंट्रोवर्शियल क्वेश्चन भी है और बहुत लोग इस पे आजकल कंटेंट भी क्यूरेट कर रहे हैं. Do you think that UX will be dead in coming years just because AI has entered in the market? And we have seen that कि in the case of graphic design also, people are taking graphic designers very for granted. to be
Hmm.
very honest. Well, there are, of course, there is an exception. There are multiple designers who are very talented, graphic designers who are very talented, but still there is a thing going on with graphic designers जो कि थोड़ा अब backseat हो गया है. Now UX is the game. UX is in the game right now. Or do you think UX design will be dead in coming years?
Nothing dies, to be honest. Like, no profession dies like that. Okay,
Okay.
when cars came, horses did not become irrelevant. They found new ways to prove themselves usable. Okay, nothing ever dies. Okay, you
Yeah.
just
Okay.
find your own niche. It's just that UX, luckily UX is like one of at the forefront of us being building technology and building experiences and products. So UX die तो नहीं ही कर रहा है. ठीक है.
Okay.
Also because let's say what will happen, AI आने से, right, once the AI is here, the baseline expectation from a designer is getting higher because good enough things even AI can do, so you have to do awesome things, right? If you were doing good enough design,
True.
now you're irrelevant because your founder can hire somebody temporarily or just set themselves and then do good enough UX. They will only need you once they need awesome UX and you can do awesome UX. Otherwise, you're not needed. Okay? It's as
Basically,
simple
a
as that.
person, yeah, basically a person who knows AI will replace your job. तो मतलब वो वाली बात है.
हाँ,
सर
and plus
AI
it's
की
not
बात
just
कर ही
AI,
रहे
by
हैं.
the way. हाँ, AI, it's
Yeah.
not just AI also, right? AI also means, are you open to learn and get expertise in a new way of doing things? AI designs will always remain the same. ठीक है?
Yeah.
The way our interfaces look might keep on changing in the future as we have more and as we keep on evolving our taste, right? The kind of interfaces we will like might keep on changing, but the interfaces will always be there. The designers will always be there. Just that designers need to prepare के okay, before let's say before Photoshop came, ठीक है, there would have been some other way of creating posters. Printing press had different technologies. Then Photoshop came and then people started to learn how can we leverage technology. When Photoshop came, people were like, artists will die, but artists did not die, right? And that was 25 years ago.
Makes sense. Makes
Right?
sense.
Did people
Yes.
stop creating art on physical paper? No. Right? Now people are
They
doing
don't.
mixed
They
media
don't.
where they're using digital and physical and everything, and then now creating new kind of art. So design में भी यही होगा.
Ghibli arts.
हाँ. And plus you need people to do AI, work with AI. By the way, I'll tell you one very
Yeah.
interesting discussion I had with someone recently. Let's say there is ChatGPT. ठीक है? ChatGPT one account here, ChatGPT one account here. Here, the person using ChatGPT is somebody who has just started learning design, and let's assume they have done a 6-month boot camp. There is me
Okay.
who has 9-10 years of experience, and now I'm using GPT. Okay. Now, if given the same task, who do you think will be able to produce better output with AI?
You, because you know how things
Because I
work.
know more, right?
Yeah, you
Now,
know more. Yeah.
that means even with the same AI tool, who was the deciding factor here? Who decided, who controlled the quality of the output? Humans,
True.
right?
Okay.
So
Cool.
that's the
Makes
case
sense.
here. हाँ.
Okay. Sir, okay, AI की इतनी बात चल ही रही है तो let's hop on with this question. That even our design tools are getting smarter. Fine. Figma, config में अभी देखा हमने. Canva has built a great AI system. अभी हो रहा था कुछ उसमें भी. तो how do you personally use AI in your design workflows? Zepto में होता है कुछ AI का use?
हाँ. Okay. At Zepto, we are starting to explore AI. मतलब in visual design aspects, we are starting to explore AI. I can't say too much, but yes, even in the tech, मतलब it's basically every company is using AI for the same things. Every single company, whatever I say for Zepto is true for Blinkit, Instamart, Swiggy. Everybody is doing the same AI. For example, all e-commerce companies are trying to generate their SKU images or the product images from AI. Everybody is trying it. We are also trying it.
Okay.
Some people have succeeded it. Some people have not succeeded it, right? Because everybody has a different style and branding guidelines for the kind of images they use.
Okay.
Then copywriting.
Okay.
Copywriting में भी सभी लोग कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, code writing, everybody is trying to write as much code depending on the nature of the problem. Maybe some company is able to automate more work just because they had a certain kind of requirement from a tool. ठीक है, so at Zepto, whether it is graphic design, brand team, tech team, everybody is trying to learn AI and use AI, and again, which is a similar case for everybody, so it's not like we're doing anything special. Okay, we all want to save our jobs, and also we all want to be more productive using AI.
Productive
So
at
it's
the same time, yeah.
yeah, more productive. So there is no choice. Important
Okay,
is
yeah.
how you can how should we use AI, and is there, let's say, is there a general roadmap sort of a thing that people should follow? है ना? Generally, I've been an advocate of AI in my team, in my friend circle, you know, in all the design meetups that I'm doing. And what I'm suggesting people to do, number one, is first get really comfortable with baseline LLMs. Baseline LLMs, there are 4 baseline LLMs: DeepSeek, Claude, Gemini,
Claude.
and OpenAI. Okay, these 4 are like very popular LLMs, and all the other AI tools that you're seeing are built on top of these. Okay, now what is an LLM? LLM is a basic text to text model, right? You put in text inside it, it will output text. Okay, and that text could be a lot of other things, by the way. Like it could be language text, it could be poems, it could be translation, it could be code. But for AI, it's all text.
Okay.
It's like you give me text, I'm giving you text. Okay, number one thing is that everybody should have at least one favorite tool. Okay, everybody should have one favorite tool, and I think they should be favorite baseline LLM. The best choice today will be, if you want to be completely free of any payment model, use Gemini. If you're okay paying, use GPT. Okay, GPT is constantly innovating and all, and launching so many new things. So if you choose anything between these two, you'll be sorted. So GPT and Gemini, कोई भी एक choose कर लेना है, sorted. Claude, DeepSeek, just be aware of what features they are launching. What if they launch something outstanding, then you might want to learn them. But mota moti, every AI tool is following the same process. Okay? Now, once you're done with the baseline LLM tool, now you need to have, first is you'll be just starting to prompt it. Second thing is you need to create your own prompt database. You need to create your own prompt database, your own prompt templates, and then use some text expander tools to put in those prompts quickly. For example, if I write, so I have a text shortcut in my system, which is, if I write EM anywhere in any tool and then press space, okay, my email address will pop up. Okay, it will be populated. So these kind of shortcuts you can make, and all the advanced people, by the way, are using this, right? Which is, they have a lot of prompt templates. मेरे को design के बारे में, I have different templates. UX के बारे में different. When I want to talk about coding, I have a different template. So smart people have like hundreds of templates like this. Okay, and they have shortcuts. They have made naming conventions. The moment they're interacting with ChatGPT, they'll put in that shortcut. Let's say prompt का P, UX prompt 15 or UX prompt copy. So I'll say UPC. Now it's UX prompt copywriting, right? And then suddenly a baseline template will be there on my screen. And now I can fill in the important details. Within 10 seconds, my prompt, my well-written, structured prompt is going inside the AI tool. Now I'm getting better output. Okay? The most common mistake most people are doing is not making that prompt database. Do you have a prompt database? Or prompt templates?
I don't know. No, not right now. I have been using GPT Strawberry
so
for. वही कर रही हूँ मैं.
हाँ, तो it's like, imagine. Okay, so this is the first thing.
Yeah.
Gen AI tools पे भी you don't need to go. First master these two things, then go to image generation, video generation.
So, sir, you've talked about LLM sort of thing with ChatGPT, Claude AI, DeepSeek. So, sir, are we heading towards a future where even non-designers can create decent UX? Like, where do UX pros like still hold the upper hand?
We are in that future. We are in that future where non-designers can also create decent enough UX. That future is already here. You can use UX Pilot.
Okay.
You can use Creati. right? There are
Busily
like you
AI
can
और ये सब
use
हाँ.
UIZard or Wizard. Yeah, you can use all of these and they'll give you good enough UX. Just that I
But do
think
you
so
think they
far
are usable?
where all of these, they are usable. Yeah, they're decently usable. They give you code and all everything. For an entry level entrepreneur just
Okay.
wanting a decent enough product, these are like very good tools, and they all are like they all are linked to code, so they're constantly giving you code. Immediate code generation is also there. So
Okay,
depending
okay,
on
okay.
what, how much detail and how much quality you want in a product, good enough UX is available today without the need of a designer. ठीक है? In fact, I'll
चलो
tell you,
ठीक है
if you go
ये.
to a code generator tool like Bolt and these, they'll give you not just UI. They don't even need, you don't even need front end developers. ठीक है? That also is available immediately. React code you'll get from a prompt to an app.
But can AI ever understand emotional aspect or cultural aspect in the context the way a human UX designer can? Or like, or are we safe from robot takeovers?
I think it will. It will understand. AI is getting smarter and it will keep on getting smarter. It's like even if you, no matter what complicated question you have in your mind, most AI tools will be able to give you a very good answer. Okay, most AI tools will be able to give you very good answer. The only thing is that right now the state of tools is more dependent on the prompt quality. Okay, because again the tool also doesn't know you much, right? Over
True.
the time, let's say in a few years the tools will evolve and keep on collecting more and more data. Okay, and as they get more and more awareness of you, your area, your location, your personal requirements, etc., all of these sensitivities that we want from the tool, they will be there. And in the end, yes, it's a machine. Matlab, I don't think we should be expecting machine to be emotional. There is not too much utility in it. And maybe I think differently on it, but I'm even okay with the like GPT not being too emotional as long as it is giving me tactical advice. Because I would prefer to talk to a human if I need something that is emotionally sensitive. Okay, I'm not relying on it. I would want AI to
हम
do a few things really, really well, which is, do code and all of these things.
Okay, so it will eventually turn into a emotional or cultural thing. ठीक है, fine. So, sir, अभी जैसे how underrated you think in like how underrated is UX in terms of business return of investment? Why do some companies still treat UX as an afterthought? मतलब उनको है ही नहीं कि ठीक है चलो UX बाद में देख लेंगे, डेवलपर अभी कर लेगा. ये ज़्यादातर केस स्टार्टअप्स का है और वही स्टार्टअप्स फेल हो रहे हैं. तो how much do you think UX is really important in this era?
So it's like if somebody wants to fail, you cannot do anything. Okay, if people want to fail and ship in a bad product, it's
Of
okay.
course.
I'm totally okay with them doing their own thing. I don't care. I don't mind.
But some
Because
companies
it's
still
more
treat
like if
it as
somebody
an
doesn't
afterthought.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have met those people. I have worked with those companies too, and that's why if I see that, if I smell that, I'm immediately out of that company because I don't think after a certain point it is my role to to change the perspective of the founder. Right? I will definitely,
True.
if I see that, I'll definitely try to change their mind. I'll try to convince them. I'll try to share data on where and how UX can add value because yes, doing that thing as a baseline is part of my job. But if I see people are adamant and they truly think that they know better, I will lead them. Okay, and I will
Okay. Okay.
I'll move towards the company because again, imagine me being able to bring this much value, okay, but I'm only able to bring this much value because this much effort I'm just wasting in convincing them. Right?
हाँ
So
सही बात है.
everybody
ठीक
to
है
their
ठीक है.
own, I would leave them
Makes
and
sense.
move on. Yeah, and
हाँ
plus,
हाँ
पता
हाँ.
है, the reason I'll tell you why, by the way, why is it still happening? Because India as a country is not at all entrepreneurial. Okay,
हाँ
India
अभी
as a
still
country,
there is
we
some
as a
scope.
population, there is huge scope. Like people are so afraid to do businesses. ठीक है, we don't understand businesses as much as people in United States, or we don't understand
San
product and
Francisco,
the
New
importance
York.
of quality. Yeah, we don't understand the value of creative thinking and having an out of the box attitude. No, we are conformist. We try to conform to whatever is the baseline as much as possible. ठीक है, that's why people will stick to their belief on whatever is the safest way to do something, rather than them trying to be open and exploring what is the best way to do something. So safest to best, this delta is where India is hanging, and most people in India are hanging. I know that I have limited time and energy on this earth, on my corporate life. I would rather waste it on not waste it and spend it on people who value this and who I resonate with.
ओके ओके मेक सेंस। सर अब सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन पे आ जाते हैं जिसकी वजह से ये दुनिया काम कर रही है, विच इज़ द मॉनिटरी पोटेंशियल द UX designer holds and the UX industry holds, and how can young designers position themselves as revenue drivers, not just like pixel pushers maybe. Yeah.
Okay. First
How
thing
much do you
first,
think कि monetary potential है?
monetary
Initially
potential
से
है, but
लेके
not for the designers who are only UX designers. ठीक है, most
Okay.
UX designers
ठीक है।
actually overvalue themselves. I'll tell you this. Most UX designers heavily overvalue themselves. ठीक है, they think that they know too much, but they don't. And the moment you put them in a room full of product managers and developers and business people, they'll fall flat, and they will not have value to add on to the discussion. ठीक है, and these people will never be able to become revenue drivers. All the designers who have been able to become revenue drivers are people who understand things outside UX more. So it's like you understand
Business
the
का भी
whole
सोचते हैं।
picture. हाँ, like you should be able to understand each and everything that is happening in your organization, so that you can decide where what expertise is needed from you. Salespeople will
Okay.
not come to you and be like, yeah, okay, give us sales advice. ठीक है, but if you understand sales, and if you understand that how to build networking and relationship, right, you can actually start to interact with salespeople, and then you will suddenly find ways to add value even in the sales teams. They will have poorly designed workflows, because again they are salespeople, so they're focusing more on closing the client, and they sometimes may not be able to optimize their processes, which is a designer's expertise.
तो सर अभी जो डिज़ाइनर्स हैं दे आर फोकसिंग मोर ऑन UI पार्ट। मतलब अगर मैं अपनी भी बात करूँ तो हमारे कॉलेज में आई एम स्टिल परस्यूइंग UX डिज़ाइन, BDes कर रही हूँ मैं। इट इज़ अ 4-year डिग्री, इट इज़ अ 4-year लॉन्ग डिग्री। तो हाउ मच डू यू थिंक कि रिसर्च इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, UX रिसर्च? UI तो चलो ठीक है, मतलब UX रिसर्च कोई बंदा नहीं करेगा तो क्या है उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस, क्रक्स क्या है?
Okay, I'll tell you. मतलब personally, I feel like there's been a decline in the number of researcher openings in the last few years. ठीक है, 2022,
Okay.
2023, everybody wanted to have like very well-rounded design teams, and suddenly 2023 के बाद में, I don't know what happened, but there was a huge decline in the number of openings. The openings are still there.
Okay.
Everything is happening, but I don't feel that it is on the rise. Okay, maybe the situation is something else, but in my awareness, it's not on the rise now. Should you do your research? Yes, but should you have a full-time researcher in your design team to do UX research? Maybe not. Okay, why? The reality is, most organizations that are trying to move fast do not have time to do research, and I also believe they'll have better output doing things more iteratively. So maybe focusing less on pre-design research and focusing more on post-design A/B testing and iteration, which is the approach that I've seen Zepto and also PhonePe follow. ठीक है, rather than
Okay.
you trying to take everything from the lens of research, a few things will be, let's say, will have a higher degree of sensitivity, and they will have higher stakes, where you need to do more responsible design. There it's okay There it should be like there the research should be prioritized and you should do research. But I don't think you need research for every damn thing that you're doing in the organization, because most of the problems can be solved by having good data on the product analytics and product usage, and you'll be able to build really good hypothesis based on data. And that's why the world
Okay.
is the entire world does more data driven design and data centered design than UX research driven design, because UX research also adds one more phase in the design process, and then you have to wait for the research to do its thing.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
most companies want to move
Makes
faster.
sense.
Like you have competition. So it's better to put in one version of the product that is half baked but is available in the market than trying to build a more polished version of the product, right? But maybe taking more time. Again, sometimes for me it's like 90%, 90-10. I believe 90% of the products and 90% of the features can be built without research and can be improved with research. But there are 10% of the products or 10% of the things that you do in a product which are sensitive in different ways, right? Accessibility sensitive, culturally sensitive, market sensitive. There you should prioritize research. And by the way, product managers, organizations, product managers, business managers, sales people, customer people, everybody is doing some research. Even your leadership is doing some research. There are business analysts who are doing research. ठीक है, तो it's not कि just because I don't have a design researcher in my team, my company is not doing research on product. ठीक है, there is research happening, maybe not user
exactly.
research.
Specifically एक UX designer नहीं कर रहा हो सकता है वो.
हाँ.
Perfect. Sir, this podcast is going to be ending very soon. Let's just have a quick rapid fire sort of a thing, जो कि रजत पटेल exclusive होने वाला है. So 3 questions I'll be asking you. ठीक है, just to make this, just to end this podcast on a very lighter note. ठीक है, तो let's start. If you had to pick Figma with 100 plugins or unlimited coffee during deadlines.
Oh, I will just pick Figma. Yeah.
Okay, with 100 plugins.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. What's the weirdest user feedback you have ever received? Research के दौरान.
Weirdest would be मतलब I got on a call thinking somebody is ordering and they had a very weird behavior pattern, and turns out they were
Okay.
basically ordering for their mom. Their mom was adding and removing product from other end of the country, and they were kind of waiting from the same account. There were like so much happening in the data, and he was like, "Wo, I was actually trying to teach my mummy how to use Zepto."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. ये भी होता है. ठीक है. Okay. What's your guilty pleasure when you want to procrastinate productively at work? What is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, I watch tutorials on new design tools. Outside Figma.
Okay, fine.
Nobody can
Nice.
say that you're not working, because you're like, I'm upskilling, and
I'm
you're not
upskilling
working,
myself
you're just chillaxing.
for
Yeah,
Zepto.
and you're just chillaxing with something in your earphones and just watching something cool.
Yeah. So that was it for this podcast. Rajat sir, thank you so much for coming and हमें ज्ञान दिया आपने, which was really helpful. और I hope कि जो audience देख रही है उनको भी कुछ insights मिलेंगी. And we will definitely have another podcast with you for sure. Okay. So anything else you would like to add on, sir?
If you're a new designer watching this podcast and scared about AI, please stop using AI tools, because that's the only way to not be scared about AI. These days, 90% of the questions that I'm getting on Instagram DMs and LinkedIn DMs are AI. Number one is how to become a designer. Number two is AI. How to become a designer?
AI.
Just go to an AI tool and ask it how to become a designer. Okay, it will actually give you a lot better output than you wondering. So it's like there is a clear parallel where both these can combine and help you become a designer. So act more, think less.
True. Okay. So thank you so much, sir, and we'll see everyone in the next podcast or in the next video. Thank you so much.
Thank you.